Hello. So today we're going to be taking a look at some of the most affordable video tube lights that I've seen on the market and why they're perfect for YouTubers and budget-conscious cinematographers. Let's take a look. Now, if you've seen many modern music videos or been on a lot of sets, you'll know that tube lights are kind of a favorite among a lot of music video directors. Although they have a place on set, they are kind of more of a specialty light, so sometimes the high prices are a little bit hard to swallow. So to give you an example of how much they cost, the bicolor tube lights from Quasar Science actually cost around $170, $180. And the RGB tubes get way more pricey, with the Nanlite Pavo tube coming in at $560. So today we have a far more affordable option coming in at $45. And these lights are actually some lights that I used to light one of my last short films. So let's go ahead and take a look. Yeah, I got it. Okay, we're gonna look at a little bit of BTS now. So as you can see, there are some Quasars. Again, they work great as overhead lights, like here. We have them here lighting up the bar. Again, lighting up the bar from a different angle. Okay, that's it. The ASMR is over. So you may be asking, why are tubes so sought after in the filmmaking community? Well, in the 80s, a brand called KinoFlow actually put out the first set of fluorescent tubes for use in filmmaking. These tubes were known for putting out incredibly soft light that could be used in very small environments where traditional fixtures couldn't fit. In fact, the original fixture was actually born out of necessity when Robbie Mueller on the film Barfly couldn't fit his traditional light fixtures into the set. So they had to come up with some slim fixtures that could still deliver soft light that would be pleasing to the eye. So this solution was actually created by the gaffer of the film, Frieder Hochheim, as well as the best boy, Gary Swink, who subsequently teamed up to create KinoFlow. Nowadays, KinoFlows are still somewhat popular in the interview scene. However, they're being phased out more and more often for LED tubes. One of the drawbacks that there always was with KinoFlows is the lower you dim them, the more warm they go. So LEDs offer a nice alternative that is color accurate no matter how much you dim it. Interestingly enough, as tubes started to leave the KinoFlow fixture and actually just be used independently, they become a lot more popular to just use as practical lights like I'm doing behind me. So now down to brass tacks.
I want to get down to brass tacks. I want to be very, very specific here.
These tubes are LED tubes made by Quasar Science, a company famous for creating some of the first LED tubes used in film. These are the Q15 and Q30 tubes, which come in 2-foot and 4-foot respectively. Now, unfortunately, these aren't bicolor tubes. However, you can get them in daylight or tungsten, though I would really stress that you should probably go with the daylight because CTO actually cuts less light than CTB. So if you needed to gel a tungsten fixture to daylight, you would actually be losing more light than the opposite way. So at $45 for the 2-foot and $75 for the 4-foot, these lights blow every other light in this price category out of the water. So not only are these tubes good for home studio use, they're also usable on sets, although for connector reasons I'll talk about later, they're not the best. And keep in mind, these are Quasar Science tubes, so they're gonna have a good light consistency even when used as practicals on sets. The funny thing is, these tubes actually beat some of the higher end tubes when it comes to light consistency and seeing the individual diodes through the diffuser. Okay, so now for the downsides. Obviously, one of the downsides is the output level. These are 15 and 30 watt fixtures. The output is obviously not going to match the more expensive competition from Astera, Nanlite, and even the more expensive Quasar Science tubes. However, as a standalone single color temperature fixture, I find these work astoundingly well. These tubes can also be gelled to go to any color you'd like. However, you might want to pick up the fitted gels for the T8 size tubes because they're going to be fitted for length and circumference of the tube. Unfortunately, these gels come in at about $20 a gel, so they're not cheap by any means. If you need a lot of color, this might not be the tube for you. However, if maybe you're just getting a few, it could potentially work. One major point of contention with these lights is they actually come with no mounting points. So essentially you're gonna have to use a clamp for it. Whether it's a super clamp, a Cardellini clamp, one of their specially designed brackets, or a DIY solution like I found. Basically for my solution, I used a piece of aluminum that I drilled holes into, which I mounted T8 brackets onto, and then put a baby pin in the bottom so that it could hold two tubes together at once, which is what I'm using behind me. This light is really meant to be a T8 fluorescent tube light replacement, which means it only has the 2 prongs on each side to mount into traditional fixtures. However, this also means that these 2 prongs are also what's used to power it. So I'm really not a fan of the clamp-on solution they have. I find it often gets loose and leaves the pins somewhat exposed. And finally, bizarrely enough, these tubes actually don't have an on-off or a dimmer built in. So you're gonna have to get an external dimmer, and to turn them on, you just plug them in. So somewhat of a bizarre decision, but certainly was made in the spirit of cost cutting. So thankfully you don't actually need super expensive professional dimmers. I just got a Lutron dimmer from Lowe's that works perfectly fine. However, I have heard problems with the Leviton external dimmer from Home Depot. I would try to steer clear of that as it doesn't properly dim the fixture. If you can't find Lutron, I would try to find an external dimmer that says it's compatible with LEDs, as there is a difference. So should you buy it? Is it worth your money? Well, if you're heavily budget conscious and you need some decent soft lights, I don't think you can go wrong. I mean, I bought 4 of them. Well, that's all I have. If you liked the video, like it. If you didn't, don't. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one.